you hate it now, but wait till you drive it.
The Kibbe and Friends Show.
What it is, bro?
Presented by Holley Performance, makers of the world's best air and fuel delivery systems. Featuring Rob Kibbe.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Justin Corndog Cornett.
New guy's in the corner puking his guts out.
And show producer Bernie McPartland.
This is the DJ 3000, and it has 3 distinct varieties of inane chatter.
We're talking cars.
Do you feel this vehicle is safe for highway travel?
Yes, I do.
Diving deep on the topics that matter most.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this.
And totally redeem yourself.
And the Dukes of Hazzard. Available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your content.
Turn up the volume.
This is the Kibbe and Friends Show.
Kibbe and Friends Show, episode number 231. Available in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. I am your host, Rob Kibbe. Period. Great. Right on time. With me, as always, is co-host Justin Corndog Cornett. Period.
I am here.
Outstanding.
Barely made it, but I'm here.
In the glass booth of emotion, with his guns, his bacon, sold all the Disney Cars collectibles now that we've reviewed that movie. Producer Bernie McPartland in the pit of hell, known as Texas. Not because it's a bad state, but because it's so damn hot. Welcome, Bert.
Not the best time to be in a glass booth of anything. 109 degrees officially at DFW Regional or DFW International Airport. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Tying and breaking the record of 108. So up. Did you know that Windex, when you spray it on a hot glass like that, will actually sizzle?
Really? Did you learn that today, like firsthand knowledge?
I've tried it before. It's been hot here before, but it works. If you just spray a light mist on a very, very hot piece of glass, you get a little like that. Try it at home.
Learn something every day from the burn. Well, terrific. Well, welcome, everybody. This is your automotive pop culture break from reality. We are on time, on schedule, and on budget today, and we're going to get this hour and 20-minute recording done in an hour flat. Watch this. I'd just like to remind you all that the Kibbe and Friends Show is the official media partner of Holley MoParty 2022 General Lee Jump. That's right, fellas. Every single major media outlet, I updated this. Every YouTube personality, every TikToker, they were all on the backup list to us. However, I did hear that the print edition of Porta Potty's monthly declined. They charge 10 times what we do because, damn it, they are worth it. We are second place, and second place is good enough. C's get degrees. The
Porta
jump is ours.
Potty Weekly?
Print edition. Nobody cares about the online one.
We are number 1 in the number 2 business.
That's right. I know you guys have all seen the Porta Potty truck with the O2 on the side.
Yeah.
The orange one with the 02. It's pretty outstanding. There's the General Wee, blah, blah, blah. We do have a Dukes of Hazzard review for you today in the second half of the show. Reminder, we're now in season 7, and we're almost at the end of season 7. This is the last season of the Dukes of Hazzard. Kind of feels like we're in the final countdown. I got a song just to celebrate. We are just about there.
Is that you singing?
Oh, no, I believe that was Europe that played that.
I'd be suing if I was them.
Want to hear a clip of Guns N' Roses? That goes on for quite some time.
BB Guns and Daisies, not Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Wrong band.
When I hear that, you know what I hear? For all of you out there who think, hey, I can do a podcast too, that's what you sound like to us. No, you can't. Only trained professionals such as ourselves, mostly Bernie, can pull off such excellent here. So here's what we're going to do.
California, here I come.
I went to California, and I'm going to give Corndog my book report trip. See if he has insights and expertise, because while I did get to everywhere I wanted to go, I don't think I got it right. I don't think I got hardly any of them right, but I got somewhere. And then we'll obviously have the award-winning Bernie on the news, because we gotta. Then your Duke's review.
Contracts. Sorry.
Yeah, that's Porta Potties Monthly, Bernie, and then whatever we get paid. So anyway, I did go to California. I have definitely confirmed that we all need to go to California with Corndog as group leader, taking us around, teaching us stuff, showing us things. I went to everything on my list, and I almost accomplished nothing other than driving around for 2 days. And I told you I only had 1 day. Well, I did only have 1 day, and then my flight got screwed up, so I had an extra day. So I thought I'll go see everything that I missed that day. And I still didn't get it done, and I still didn't get it right. So here was the first stop, Golden Oak Ranch. I think was the first generation of California filming. Right. We're talking about exterior scenes, not the Warner Brothers on the ranch with the Hazzard Square. Not that. That was consistent all throughout. But Golden Oak Ranch, which of the 3 locations I visited is the only one that is still an active film ranch to this day. Disney Golden Oak Ranch. Got to the front gate, and I got there on a Sunday. And if I'd have known I would have an extra day, I would have called my buddy John Hobson, my college friend. He helped us with Zoom calls back in the pandemic.
Right.
He lives there. We could have gone around and paddled around. If I'd have known that, we could have done that, and I probably would have got a lot more done. Went to Golden Oak Ranch, pulled up to the front gate, locked, and, okay, I'm just going to tell you, I was going to go over. There was a parking lot full of cars, and I could see that, but I thought I can make it, and then I could see security guards on both sides, and there was like a tough mutter going. And then I saw the people running through. I thought, it was so frustrating because what I really wanted to do was drive through, but I was willing to hop the fence, just if I could get the glimpse of something. But then I saw the people and I chickened out. So I have a few photos from that, and then I drove up the road a little ways. What I did see and saw very clearly, which you would never see in the Dukes of Hazzard, but they have this whole town square set there. I believe the thing this audience might know it from is probably a number of things, but WandaVision, the thing on Disney Plus, they shot some stuff there.
They've more recently just built that downtown, middle America, little downtown. I think they've got like a neighborhood street with random houses or whatever. And then they've got like the downtown part that kind of looks like the Hazzard Square, similar to it. Mm-hmm. None of that was there when I went in 2004.
It looked new to me. I think in the little research I did, I knew about it. I just kept driving up the road until I could see something. And that was the only thing I could clearly see. Obviously, when you look out over what you can see through the little gaps in the hills and the valleys, it looks like Hazzard County to me. There was nothing there recognizable that I could go look at. So,
did they still have the live oaks there?
You mean trees?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Those big, huge oak trees that were there, when they filmed.
Oh, absolutely. I would guess out of all the locations, this one probably looks just like it did then. Buildings aside, but the nature geography of it looked terrific. I was trying to figure out if the road I was on right next to that was the same road that they would shoot some of the highway scenes. In the early seasons when they'd be out on the highway. Yeah,
it's possible.
I couldn't tell. I really couldn't tell.
They did more of that in the earlier episodes, and it would be winding roads. They always did the whole, oh my God, my brakes are out routine.
Yes.
And all of that's not too far from there. I probably couldn't pinpoint exactly what road that is, but some of my friends who actually live out there that are familiar with it, they could probably pinpoint the road just by the looks of the video.
There was one really twisty canyon road. Google had taken me on a reroute, so I don't even know that I could find it again unless Google rerouted me that way again. But Dallas and I were just cutting through this little twisty mountain pass where it was switchback after switchback after switchback after switchback. And it was really fun to drive. But I mean, you come up over a hill and then I got to turn. And at one point, Dallas gasped. He went, as one would, but it was almost like cars. I mean, it was like a roller coaster. As soon as you'd see that you had to turn, the entire road would bank like 10 degrees to the left. And you'd take a left turn and you just stick right to it. So as long as you didn't keep your foot on the gas, you're going to be totally fine. I thought for a second maybe that was one of those, oh my Lord, the brakes are out type places. But I don't think it could have been because it was so tight. But as I went and saw other filming locations, the size of things is totally, my perspective was completely wrong on things. Some things are super small when you see them in person. So I would
just like we talked about with the Hazzard Square. it looks normal size on TV, but then when you get there, it's like 3/4 size.
Yeah, everything's tiny.
So,
Sherwood Forest, I didn't even bother trying to find the new housing development. That was the second filming location after Golden Oak Ranch. That one has been all developed. I watched some YouTube videos about some houses for sale there. Wee bit out of my price range.
just imagine digging in the backyard and finding like an orange fender or something.
Oh, man. Wouldn't that just be the dream? Or like, I knew it. It was at the bottom of this lake the whole time. I knew it. So I didn't try that. Valencia. Okay, I went to Valencia off of Lyons Road, and I got to that gate at the front that we saw on Google Earth that we were looking at together. It's there. There's a bunch of construction equipment out front. I'll send you some pictures. There's a big sign there. That place is being developed.
Yeah, I've heard that part of it is. That's been a, oh my gosh, it's being developed story for the last 15 to 20 years.
I'd like to just buy it.
Do it. I'm sure it's cheap.
It's Southern California. How expensive could it be?
Dirt cheap.
There's dirt on it, right? And I would say from parts I saw, it was dirty.
Yeah.
I think I saw a fox or a wolf or something. I don't know what it was. I saw some animal.
We went there, I want to say it was the spring or early summer of 04. And I'll say probably the summer before, maybe say 03, summer or spring of 03, wildfires passed through there. And so by the time we got there, everything was like really low cut. It was nice and green. It wasn't overgrown or anything. And it really looked like Hazzard would have, except the dirt roads, they were kind of grown over with the grass and stuff, some of the roads. But as far as like, you know, you didn't have briars and 6 foot tall grass out there like you probably do now, but it looked really good then.
When this show goes live, I'm going to post several little photos and little short videos to Instagram so you can kind of follow along with this. It was fairly overgrown at the entrance. It would have been a real dumb idea to break in there.
I think there's normally like 10 locks on the gate.
I have photos of it. There are multiple chains and padlocks.
Yeah.
But right next to there is a whole fenced off area full of construction equipment. I'm sure there's cameras in there. I'm positive.
Yeah, probably so.
And there's a zoning permit for some other things. But what I was curious about from you is I couldn't see far enough in to recognize anything. Again, all the geography down there kind of looks like Hazzard County, you know, in one way or the other. But was the photo of all the generalies on the car carrier right there close to the...
No. From that gate, you probably go 1/8 of a mile, maybe even a 1/4 mile down this gravel road. And then you cross this little drawbridge, which they made for that movie, Nothing But Trouble, I think is, what was it? The weird movie. I'm drawing a blank.
Top Gun.
No, it's not that one.
Ghostbusters.
They filmed out there like right during the time that all the cars were being stored out there.
Top Gun Maverick?
No, it wasn't. No, Cars the movie. That's what it was. Anyways, it had Dan Aykroyd as some crazy, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on this movie. Dan Aykroyd was some crazy monster looking thing or whatever that lived in this mansion. And anyways, it was
Blues Brothers.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Dan Aykroyd. Duh. Okay.
So anyways, they built this drawbridge or like a gated bridge or something. Once you cross over that, then you kind of come into the road. Not far from there on the right was where Tom Sermino's shop was. So, you know, you had his garage there and then you had the cars lined up and all that. That would have been where all the pictures of the cars were stored and all that. They would have been there. But even then, after the Dukes was over, even after Wayne came and picked up all the cars, there was security stationed there. So, you know, it's not like 1988, you can sneak up in there and no one would know any different. You know, they were still filming out there, various movies or whatever.
For just other productions. It's not a production place anymore at all.
You would not have been able to see it from that main highway or even that frontage road or whatever. You wouldn't have been able to see any of it.
That's too bad. Because I couldn't get my bearings. I think in one of the videos I say, I have no idea where I am. The real bummer was of all the locations I went to visit, that was the only one I had a somewhat hopeful map of, an aerial view. I was hoping to see at least something that was kind of close to there. And now as you describe it, I know that I couldn't have. So there was that area. I did get out to Indian Dunes.
Yeah.
You want to know what's out at Indian Dunes?
I think it used to be a sod farm.
Today, it's a whole lot of nothing. Okay. Nothing. There is an empty building with nothing and no one in it. And there is fence for miles, all locked up. And there's a 4-way entrance off the highway there that comes into it, that comes to a gate that goes to nowhere. and that's it. There ain't nobody and nothing. There's nothing active. There's nothing. Just flat out nothing.
Well, from that main road, you would turn off, say you turn left into the Indian Dunes, and then you would probably go there again another eighth or a quarter mile before you even got to where the big Styx River jump is.
I never could get my bearings on it. I sat there.
Well, the car is going away from the road, if you can picture it that way.
It would have to be. I looked at Google Maps and I watched the opening credits of the Dukes of Hazzard several times. And I finally realized that highway is running parallel to the river.
Yes.
Not perpendicular to the river. So, yeah, the car would either be jumping toward you or away from you.
Yeah, it was going away from the road.
I never figured out where it was.
You should have been able to see the big hillside where everything went off the cliff.
I did see that. I zoomed in on it. I think I say in the video, I wonder if this is the one Corn Dog's talking about.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Every car went off the edge, except for the General Lee, of course. Daisy's Roadrunner went off the edge. Every bad guy car, police cars, everything went off the edge there. And also there at the Indian Dunes, that is also where the airport, the Hazzard Airport was. You know, there was many episodes where you can see little small hangars. It was an airstrip. That's where it was there. You can't even see it anymore. I don't even think the concrete, I don't even think that's even there anymore. I think they've dug all that up, but it's nice and flat. And so that's where the Hazzard Airport was.
I briefly read on Wikipedia, of the various uses of this place for filming. All of that had ceased. I read about the airport. It's just property now, and it's like everything else, probably for sale. Again, of everything, I think the only thing I thought I was sure I saw was that cliff that cars went off of.
Yeah.
I couldn't get my bearings on where the car jumped at all.
Well, it would have been that hillside, the side that they always showed, that would have been facing the road. So you would have been able to see it. Okay.
I guess I did see that. I did go out to Saugus Speedway then. I sent you a video of that one. I just drove right in and there was nobody there. Every gate was open. The interior of it's paved. The leaderboard is gone. The ring around the track, like the concrete walls with the red and white Winston West, that's all still there, and it's dilapidated, but it's there.
And the grandstand's still there?
I guess it was.
It should have been.
To look at the video again. If it weren't for the red and white, I don't think I'd have recognized it.
Yeah, because it looks just like a normal little short track. Nothing out of the ordinary. And then on the, I think, turn 1 and 2, there's quite a few pretty good size, either oak trees or pecan trees, or I don't know what, but they're pretty good size hardwood trees on turns 1 and 2. Which, if I remember right, if you're standing on the road and you're looking at the track, it would have been to your left.
Yeah, I did recognize that. I didn't know where they had done the big Carnival of Thrills jump, so you texted me where they did that. Here's the fun thing. I mostly failed on all of these site visits. I did get enough to go back and want to rewatch some stuff just to see if I could pick things out now.
Yeah.
Kind of for the fun of it. I did go to Melody Ranch. I didn't have an appointment, and I didn't even get in the gate.
Really?
And I told the guy, look, I don't want a tour. I just want to go to the museum. He goes, sorry, we have to schedule everything now. And I was like, screw it. I got other stuff to do. So I just left. I'm going to
You were that close to all of those generally roof skins and wheels and doors. And
yep, next time. I was fairly beat up emotionally by this point.
But at least now you've kind of got a game plan for next time. It's like, okay, well, I kind of know where this is and I kind of know where that is. And so you can kind of map it out a little bit better and kind of have an idea of what you want to do.
Totally. I did make a few other stops, though, not Dukes related. First stop was the Twin Pines Mall from Back to the Future. I went back and found it, and I'll post a little video on Instagram. When Marty comes down, in the middle of the night, riding down the sidewalk with the video camera, I stood right there. I tried to take the same shot. Obviously, mine was in the daytime and not the night, but I put my rental car, I thought, where Doc Brown's truck was, sort of.
Oh, that's cool.
I went to Doc Brown's house, the Gable, I think it is, the Gable Mansion.
Oh, yeah. That's nice.
It was open for tours, but I got there after they had closed. I got some footage of that. It's not 1640 Riverside Drive at all. What a disappointment.
You tried Googling that?
Yeah.
Did you go to their, the McFly home?
I've been there before. I've done a few drive-bys of the McFly house before, and I was going to, and I didn't have time this time, but it was on my map.
Isn't it still just a regular house?
Yeah, somebody lives there. It's in a normal residential neighborhood. I would definitely say that the people who owned it when I drove by it were pretty sick of people like me driving by it.
Really?
And I didn't go in the driveway or anything, but I definitely slowed down and took photos and video as I drove by several times.
You'd think they would realize that that's part of the deal.
I thought I was doing a Dukes of Hazzard trip to see, like in the early seasons when they'd go through that big tunnel.
Yes.
So I looked up the tunnel. I looked up the Hollywood Tunnel, and it was near the Griffith Observatory. So I went there.
Yep.
I don't think that's the tunnel, but it's definitely the tunnel from Back to the Future 2, for sure. And it's not that long.
That's what she said.
I've never seen that one in person, though.
If you see Back to the Future 2, like if you were
we're just going to run over him, right?
Yes, if you were to drive there yourself, you go in the tunnel on the side where Biff exits and hits the manure truck, and you come out on the side where they enter. The tunnel is not very long, though. It just gave me more respect for how things are filmed. It must have taken days to film that short scene. Again, they just run out of tunnel. By the time they got, 30 seconds of footage, they'd be at the other end.
Wow.
So,
well, I wonder, is there
it's really neat.
Possibly other tunnels, like, around Griffith Park?
I couldn't tell you. I'm not an expert on this stuff. I can tell you that tunnel was definitely in that movie. It was the exact same thing. So I ended at Griffith Observatory, like at the observatory. I said the same thing when I got up there that everybody said. Oh, hey, there's the Hollywood sign. Everybody said that. I said that out loud. And then I heard somebody else say, oh, hey, there's the Hollywood sign. Because we all didn't know where we were.
That's been used on all sorts of different movies and TV shows, and like Rebel Without a Cause, James Dean was out there, and tons of different movies and film and everything. But also on the early episodes of the Dukes, there's sometimes where you'll see the generally driving down just a random paved road, and you will see the squared off curbs, next to the road. And when you see that, that's at Griffith Park.
Oh,
I'm not sure exactly where, but somewhere there at Griffith Park, they also did the early promotional photos for the Dukes before they even started filming. And I'm sure you've seen these photos, and it's a generally, and it's got the doors open and no O1s on the doors.
Yeah.
All of those were taken at Griffith Park before they even went out to Georgia to film.
It was neat. I would have had more fun had we all gone together. You could have been tour guide. So I would like to do this at some point in the future. I'm now more excited to do that than ever. But it was fun to see. Maybe the coolest thing, though, at the Griffith Observatory, the observatory is cool, and the tunnel is cool, and the Hollywood sign is cool. But sitting right up top was this super sweet, unrestored 68 Camaro. It had been sprayed once. It was a 3 on the tree. I think it had air, and it was possibly a straight 6. And I realized as I was standing there gawking at this Camaro, like, the other 8 million people visiting today are here for everything else. And I'm just drooling on this unrestored Camaro.
Daily driver.
I went back to see it a few times while I was like, damn, this thing's so cool. And I got underneath it. Ooh, I can see where it was painted. Ooh. Is it really a straight 6? Ooh.
Well, actually, you did run across some film history there. I know about that car.
Do you?
I do. I don't know if it's there for a reason, but since Corndog brought this up, and James Dean, we know about his demise, they made a documentary about that, about his death, and then the subsequent selling off of his estate, and straightening up the family business and all that. I forget when it aired. Well, it was film, back in that, you'd seen it in a theater. It wouldn't have been on TV back in those days.
Sure.
But one of his relatives was driving that car, taking you around to the properties. And one of the properties, he had some oceanfront property kind of on the bay there. And they had to sell that off, of course, for part of the estate. Oh, I remember now what it was, the documentary. It was called Rebel Without a Causeway.
Is that what you've been working on this whole time?
We were waiting on it.
I had plenty of time.
I could hear you in the background. Like working it out.
And then there was this, and then there was that. Yeah, this is going to fit here, and that'll fit there.
They'll be talking about this for another 20 minutes. I'm going to polish this turd. Nice work, Bern. Let's do a quick game. Bernie, a little game show music. I promise this will be short. This is mano y mano. You each get to go once. There are 4 points up for grabs. I'm going to give you a movie clip. You need to give me the name of the movie. That's a point. You need to give me the name of the actor. That's a point. You need to give me the character. That's a point. And you need to give me the age. That's a point.
Lord.
You both get to go.
Or the actor?
The actor's real age.
Oh, God.
So the name of the movie, the name of the actor, the character's name, and the actor's age. You both get to go once. I'm going to play you a clip. Corndog, you're going to go first. You're going to hear 2 voices. You may recognize both. If you mention both of them, you lose. You can only mention one, you can only pick one, and you have to stick with that one. Are we all on the same page here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why do you put us through this? You know we stink at this.
It pleases me. But this, I think we got a fighting chance. All right, Corn Dog's up first. Here we go. Here is your clip, Corn Dog.
I feel the need for speed. Ow!
That is a very famous clip.
Yeah.
Very famous clip. Do you recognize the clip?
Yes.
Do you recognize the movie?
Yes.
What
It's
do you
going to be Top Gun.
Yes, it is. Bing. That is 1 point.
It's going to be Tom Cruise.
Bing. That's another point.
Even though I just saw the movie, I still don't know his character name. Maverick.
Oh, bing. Good pull.
Did they ever give him like a real name?
Oh, yeah. His real name is Pete Mitchell.
Yeah.
Be careful. Don't say the other one at all. And the age.
Okay, we got Tom Cruise, Maverick, Top Gun, and I will say 58.
Okay. You got the first three perfectly. Tom Cruise is 60. Now, if you're listening in the news segments, I think Bernie gave this to you last week. I'm just saying. Bernie, over to you. You have 4 points. You have to get them all right to win the game. It's 3 to tie. Here is your clip. Remember, you will hear 2 voices in this clip. But if you say the wrong one, you lose immediately. Here is your clip.
I feel the need for speed. Ow!
Now, I know what you're saying, Bird. Isn't that the same clip? Yes, it is.
Other guy.
But I told you there's 2 voices in there. All right, so over to you, Bern. What's the name of the movie, do you think?
Name of the movie is Top Gun, the original, the first, the OG.
Outstanding. Okay, what's the character's name?
Character's name is Goose.
Bing! He's on a roll. 2 points. Who played the role of Goose? What actor?
The outstanding actor Anthony Edwards played the role of Goose.
He's got 3. He is tied. And for the win, Bernie, how old is Anthony Edwards Goose of Top Gun?
I can't do the math real quick, but born this month in 1962. Yeah, that's a bing. That's exactly a bing.
So if it was 1962 and we're in 2022, he would be
72, 82, 92, 2002, 2000.
Let me ask you this. How old is Tom Cruise?
That was last week.
Yep.
So he's 60?
He is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all right.
It's the same movie, Maverick and Goose, and they're both 60. Happy birthday, Top Gun. Maverick and Goose for President 2020. With that, a quick reminder to those of you who enjoy these silly games, we do even more of them, and mostly Q&As on the Patreon show. But hey, who doesn't like more Patreon show? Go to patreon.com/KF show. We will be doing our monthly Q&A show next week. For those of you who are Patreon members, start sending in your questions right now. We don't do giveaways over there, but we do listener donations where we donate something to you, the listener, if you do something right. I promise this will not be a negative show like last month. I screwed up last month. That was my fault, completely my fault. It'll never happen again. I'm sorry. Go to patreon.com/KF show. All the proceeds that we get there go to an actual good cause, which you should know about by now. And
that was the Debbie Downer edition.
Yeah, that one really sucked. Just really sucked.
This month's question is, how did you lose your first finger?
Yeah. Patreon.com/KF show is where you go. With that, we're going to get together through and over and past the award-winning segment, Bernie on the News, where our man Bernie teaches you what you need to know in life, pop culture, news. No, wait. That's what the show is about. I don't know what Bernie does, but he seems to like it. So here we go. Award-winning newsman, Bernie on the News. Take it away, Bern.
An elderly couple is sitting together in church. The wife leans over to the husband and says, I just let out a really long and silent fart. What should I do? The husband stretches, puts his arms over his chest and leans back towards his wife and says, change the battery in your hearing aid.
Great news, Bern. Thanks for sharing.
The Blazer EV is General Motors' latest entry into the electric market. GM said its first electric SUV will have a range up to 320 miles the first week and be able to reach up 60 miles an hour in less than 4 seconds the first week also. And is looking for your attention should you be shopping for the Tesla Model Y or the Ford Mustang Mach-E, the 2024 Blazer EV, slated to tag for $45,000 to $66,000, arriving in showrooms next summer, according to GM. If you're buying a new car, you might also join the 13% of folks or about who are dishing out over $1,000 a month now for car loan payments. The shopping site Edmunds reports that's the highest rate of car payment since the year 2005. Bloomberg says Ford has announced up to 8,000 empty desks are coming soon to the plant, to the salaried ranks of its internal combustion manufacturing ranks. The newfound money will help pay for the expansion of EV and the continued losses in the EV sector from Ford. Some of that still from the Rivian investments that they've made. We've talked about that here before. And enough horrible news. Did you hear this?
Despite my demise, here's something funny. Yeah, no, go ahead.
A somewhat elusive automotive-based podcast is hitting its stride. The Kibbe and Friends show picked up the endorsement of Holley, a major fuel system aftermarket company, to be the official show sponsor of the General Lee Jump at the upcoming Holley MoParty this September.
You're kidding.
The show, no, that's right. The show host and creator Rob Kibbe was said to be flabbergasted at the announcement and was overheard booking a hotel room early as not to share sheets with any of the show workers, staff, or contributors.
I can tell you one thing. Those chuckleheads over at ESPN 8 The Ocho and Porta Potty's monthly print edition, they're going to regret not saying yes. We are going to dominate those people.
It's going to be epic. It's going to be epic. Pop culture, July 17th, 1955. You missed this since you were just in California, probably. In Anaheim, Disneyland opens to the public for the first time, July 17th, 1955. July 20th, as today we record this episode.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone, name the astronaut from this list. Buzz Aldrin, Buzz Lightyear, Neil Armstrong, Ruth Buzzy.
Neil Armstrong said that. Have you heard what he said? He said, this is real. What he has said that he said, now he has passed away, but he has said, what I said was, that's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. Not to be confused with one small step for man.
But that's not what it said in the sound clip we just heard.
Well, nothing I could do about that. When I hear that clip, it just makes me so proud. Like to this day. And I mean, geez, that was over 50 years ago, 55 years ago, 56.
I'll tell you what's sad. I watched the news multiple times today. Not one mention of it on any newscast that I saw. Not one.
Wow.
Today is my parents' wedding anniversary. I will admit that today, that's all I was thinking about. But I knew that it always made my dad happy, and probably my mom too, that it was the same day as landing on the moon.
Yeah.
A special request from show listener David L. Bosco P. Coltrane Autry, a true living dyed-in-the-wool fan of the Allman Brothers Band. He's asked us to pass along the passing of an honorary Allman brother. His name is Hewitt Chank Middleton. Friends of Greg and Dwayne since 1969. Met by chance when Chank shined the shoes of Greg Allman. I believe I got that right. That friendship began and lasted a lifetime. So we honor the passing of Chank. And thank you, Bosco, for passing that along. Good addition.
And what was Bosco's full name again?
David L. Bosco P. Coltrane Autry.
Thank you. Just making it clear.
Making it clear. Birthdays today or this week or recently. Will Ferrell, 55 years old, running naked on the track, on fire.
Mm-hmm.
You may not have heard this. Anthony Edwards, born Goose. What was his last name?
The actual character's name? Bradshaw was his name in the movie. That was his actual name.
Bradshaw. I couldn't picture it and didn't have time to look it up. Born this month in 1962. He's 60 years old.
No kidding.
Really?
Goose from Top Gun?
Man. It goes fast.
He and Mav are the same age? Is it true that they were only born like 16 days apart? Man.
In the back of fighter jets, as I understand, too.
Wow.
You should make a game out of that.
That would be something.
Pencil that down for next year.
Actor, international movie star David Hasselhoff, 70 recently.
The Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
The Hass. The Hoff.
The singer.
the Baywatch star, the user of plastic surgery.
Carlos Santana, guitarist extraordinaire, 75 years old. And that is your quickie news.
Good news, Bern. I didn't know a thing about the electric Blazer there. You know, it's interesting. You go to Southern California and you do see a lot of electric cars, a lot of Teslas. I mean, certainly about 8 billion more percent than I see every day in Iowa. I know of about 4 or 5 in the town I live in. Jeez, there are a lot of Teslas down there.
Yeah.
A whole lot of Teslas. Couldn't believe it. It's a totally different world. I also know the new fashion trend that's coming. I went to church with some friends.
Battery packs.
No, the pastors, I'm going to guess they were in their late 30s, early 40s. They wear like high water pants. And
Really?
Yeah. Mark the tape here. 2 years from now, that's going to be the trend. These like normal dudes were wearing high water pants you would make fun of people for. Like, hey, nerd. Did your mom not get you the right pants? Hey, nerd.
Hey, you think about Steve Urkel.
Yes.
He's got white tube socks, and you see like all of the tube sock.
I could see the top of their high top shoes. Okay, anyway.
Interesting.
The fashion trends, by the way, for you California listeners, if that's cool, we're your friends. Just let us know. Send us a picture of you wearing them. Let's go ahead and get to the Duke's review before I get rid of that segment of the listening audience. I just now realized California is the 3rd largest segment of our United States audience.
You just wiped out the West Coast.
It's fine. We're out of work in 3 episodes anyway.
Well, you never know, right? Duke's Review is presented by Holley. Just a reminder, Holley is open for MoParty registrations. You may have heard that we are the premier media partner to help you know that they're jumping a General Lee there, and they are. Woo! Bowling Green, Kentucky, September 16 through 18. I should probably put out a link to where I think we'll be staying. We'll be staying in this kind of the normal spot, if you will. The title poster, as described in the last episode, does have our photo on it. Prominently. No further questions needed. The Kibbe and Friends. It's very clear that it's the Kibbe and Friends show feature event. Very clear.
Nice.
Here's a little random news for you about Holley. Did you know that Holley not only has the best speed parts, all the brands, but they can help you out with your daily driver? Corn Dog, little game for you. What year is the Mrs. Dodge Durango? 2014. I'm just going to do a little search on the old website here. Let's just say that you needed a forged inner tie rod end for your 2014 Durango. And let's just say that maybe Holley had one for you. What would you pay for an engineered pro-forged inner tie rod end that fits a 2011 to 2015 Dodge Durango, Jeep Grand Cherokee, replaces part number EV800987? Now this is from Holley. Highly engineered tie rod end.
Is it like a performance, like sporty kind of part, or is it like an OE replacement?
I'm glad you asked.
Okay.
Because this is a Pro-Forged product line. Pro-Forged applied the same technological advancements in ball joint construction to their line of tie rod ends and rack ends. They deliver a premium product to withstand the rigors of performance car and truck applications. So yes, it is a sporty one. This is the premium one. Now, they do have a note in here. It requires 2 per vehicle. In case you didn't know, there are 2 on the Mrs. Durango, apparently, not just the 1. But what would you pay for 1? What do you think 1 is worth?
1, we'll say...
for a premium product from a premium performance company.
It's a pretty simple, I mean, not a simple part, but it's a, it's a small part. It's not huge and, doesn't have a whole lot of moving parts. But let's go with $150 each.
Yeah, it's performance.
Yeah,
this is a part that can save your life. When these things break, bad things happen. That's why
the front wheels go in opposite directions when they break.
What'd you say? 100 what?
$150 each.
$150 each. Wrong again, Corn Dog. $31.41 out the door.
Oh, that can't be.
Well, it'd be $62.82 for both of them.
I tried to order a case of them then. Is that what you're telling me?
Being the hoarder that you are, you may as well just buy them out.
Well, we do have some really bad potholes here in the central Mississippi area. So, it's possible I might need a case of them.
May as well upgrade. Did you know that you could pay with PayPal for 4 interest-free payments of $7.86?
Man, you can't even eat lunch at the fast food restaurant for that.
You can't put a price on safety, but Holley can. It's $31.41
plus installation.
Plus install, and we assume the installer is going to be you. Go to Holley.com, find a performance part, but get a little something for the daily driver there. Right? Can't be too safe.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm.
Here is our Dukes Review, Season 7, Episode 14, titled When You Wish Upon a Hog, written by Martin Roth and Michael Caffey, directed by somebody, and I don't know who it was directed by. Debuted on January 11th, 1985, and here's the show preview right here.
Tonight on the Duke,
I'm gonna own all of Hazzard County.
the devious Hughie Hogg returns
If it ain't my unfavorite nephew, Hughie Hogg!
and brings some strange company.
What is your wish, Master?
You can't do that! You can't do it. It's some kind of a trick.
If you don't believe me, just wish for something and I'll grant it for you.
This is the one with the Aladdin lamp, and a genie comes out.
Yeah, knockoff of I Dream of Genie.
And maybe a precursor to the Aladdin movie. She's wearing the I Dream of Genie suit.
Yeah, like back then, if you would have gone to Walmart or wherever and bought a Halloween outfit of I Dream of Genie, this is what it would have looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. We have a few episodes to chuckle through here. Forget it. I'm going to take this seriously. Here's the IMDb summary. Hughie Hogg and his beautiful girlfriend Trixie team up in his latest scheme to swindle Boss out of his holdings. The scheme involves an antique oil lamp and Trixie dressing as a genie who promises eternal riches and a way to send Bo and Luke to prison. The Dukes know Hughie is up to no good and race against time before Boss and equally gullible Roscoe are left with only a worthless old lamp. It's a genie lamp. Ugh. Here's the DVD summary. Hughie Hogg's back in town with a magic lamp complete with Genie. Who'd cotton to such hogwash? ? That's what they say. Oh, the answer is Boss Hogg. Okay, I went a different direction in my review. I was struggling with this one until I realized there's a good ending to here. So here we go. Burn a little music here. The bad girl Genie in this episode is played by Catherine Moffat. At the time of the recording, this actress was 26 years old. Do you guys think she looks older or younger than 26 years old? Don't answer. Doesn't matter. And I'm not giving her measurements either. If you want them, I have them. She was a TV starlet. She started playing the role of Beverly Detman in The Hardy Boys. She was once in an episode of Simon and Simon. She was also in Knight Rider, A-Team, The Dukes of Hazzard, Knots Landing, Star Trek The Next Generation, and for Bernie, the new WKRP. I guess you could say she got around.
She does she? Oh yeah, like a record.
Right, Bernie. Anyway, she was also in another Orange Charger production movie that starred Leslie Nielsen that Corndog had me half convinced our beloved Forever Young Charger was in there until he half convinced me.
Yeah.
Sad moment for both of us. Movie was Spy Hard. I can't avoid it forever. This is a dumb episode. For a series that started out with RVs full of hookers being driven over county lines that became a family-friendly show with a magic car, I have to say, I know that with the end coming, it's a nice return to bring Hughie Hogg and his original two henchmen back in. It's dumb. I know it's dumb. You know it's dumb. It's a joke. Boss Hogg thinks he has a real genie. But while there are miniatures in here, at least there are no General Lees. And at the very end, the Dukes risk their lives to save a very terrible person. And that's a good moral, no matter how what. 6 corn dogs. The end.
Make things worse.
Yeah.
There was a miniature General Lee.
Where?
When they went past the body shop.
Oh, there was. It didn't jump.
But it slid across the screen. And
Yes,
it's like,
yes.
Look, did they not work a real car into this scene, sliding across?
I don't know why they did that, but at least they didn't. For some reason, I don't know why. When the General Lee's on screen as a miniature, it's offensive. Then when they jump it, I hate it.
Yeah.
I just hate it. The square body Malibu miniature they had in there, though, I got to say that looked really good.
Yeah.
It looked pretty spot on.
And the complete opposite for the van.
Yes, that looked like one of those plastic things you get at the Walmart today. Yeah.
Now that I think about it, it kind of looked like one of those Nissan panel vans that they've got now, you know, the newer ones or whatever. I think it's like an NV, basically a Nissan van. The real ugly panel vans. That's about what it looked like.
Is that what NV stands for? Nissan van?
Yeah, sure. It's an NV and I think a number or whatever. I don't know. It's
descriptive. So this is a Hughie Hogg episode towards the tail end of the Dukes of Hazzard. Again, it's dumb, but I'm going to pull for you things that are good here. This, though, starts with a reminder to us, the audience, of who Hughie Hogg is.
Yeah.
And because they have time to kill, because they're only using stock footage at this point, for 1 minute and 16 seconds, they play footage from almost all of the previous Hughie Hogg episodes. For a minute and 16, it's not like a 30-second flashback. 1 minute and 16 seconds of Hughie Hogg's life in Hazzard. Some of those clips are from the early seasons with the small pushbar general with the dark interior.
Even the Daisy Roadrunner.
A younger Catherine Bach, let's say. That headlight-to-headlight patrol car crash that you like so much.
Yeah.
Man, those early seasons are just so good. When I saw that 1 minute and 16 seconds of old footage, I thought, I miss the early seasons.
Yeah.
Those were the good old days. Anyway, it's a Hughie Hogg episode. So, Hughie Hogg. Hughie Hogg is played by comedian Jeff Altman. I believe that's his name. He was a favorite guest of David Letterman on both of David Letterman's talk shows.
Right.
His original henchmen are back, and they've been in every Hughie Hogg episode that I'm aware of that has Hughie be Hughie. I know there's one episode where he's like a sheriff and he doesn't need henchmen, but the two henchmen are played by the same guys. The first is Pat Studstill. He plays the role of Barkley. And the second is Roger Torrey. He plays the role of Norris. Roger Torrey died less than a year after this episode aired. And he was the tall blonde guy with the mustache. He was only 47 years old. That particular actor, he also played the role of Mark Templeton on 12 episodes of the Beverly Hillbillies. So he's kind of, in the golden age of Hollywood TV. The other guy, the dark-haired guy, that's Pat Studstill. He just died in 2021. He was 83 years old. He was a former receiver for the Detroit Lions and a Pro Bowler. I didn't know any of this until I just looked this up.
I could definitely see that. He had more of an athletic build.
He could double for Tom Wopat. He was a commentator on Monday Night Football in the early 70s and got the acting bug because of it. I think his first role, or for one of his earliest roles, were as stunts for the original Longest Yard movie with Burt Reynolds. He was probably playing a football player.
Yeah.
And then he was just in show after show and commercial after commercial for quite a long career. He had a whole second career as an actor.
Wow.
Kind of cool. Those are the two bad guys. I love that they're always the same two bad guys. I will give them the nod for that. I really, really like that. The bad guys drive a square body Malibu. I don't have anything about the episode, so I'm just grasping at straws here. So let's talk about the square body Malibu. At one point, they have the hood open, and it looks like it has an open element chrome air cleaner.
Yeah,
is that a General Lee dog dish air cleaner?
No, I think it was just your typical, I don't know how you describe it, but it's kind of a cone shaped, just your typical run of the mill chrome air cleaner.
Oh,
that's what it looked like.
It's about the only remarkable thing about that.
Actually, when they walked up, when Bo and Luke walked up, because he did the whole, my car's broken down on the side of the road thing. That's how they kind of coaxed him into stopping.
Mm-hmm.
When they walk up, either Tom or John, one of them says something. They kind of make an impromptu comment about kind of looks like they didn't say hot rod, but it was something along those lines.
It was pretty good. Yeah. I go, this is quite the performance model. And they figure what is the hot wires not on the coil. I don't know what they say, but so the gist of it is Hughie Hogg comes to town. He's going to trick Boss Hogg into thinking that he has a real Aladdin's lamp with a real genie that comes out and grants real wishes. And the goal of it is so that Boss Hogg will trade everything he owns in the world for that lamp, because Boss will think, I can just wish my way back out of this predicament. And he convinces Boss, who really believes that he really has a genie, by predicting what his first two wishes will be. His first wish will be to have Bo and Luke in jail, and his second wish will be for money. And Hughie stages it so that both happen. And the two bad guys get the Dukes to pull over. One of them slips some knockout gas or something in the back of the General, and Bo and Luke eventually get knocked out and they pull over and they take him away and, hide him in the car. When he's putting the knockout gas on the back of the General, you get a shot of the rear seat, kind of some carpet. And I think you see two rear seat belts poking out under the rear bench seat, and they're painted.
No, on the front of the lower seat cushion, on the rear seat, down close to the floor, there's a plastic, it's like a receiver for the buckle, for the seatbelt buckle. And basically you extend it and you buckle it to the front of the seat. So they go straight out, so they don't fall in between the seats. Does that make sense?
No, say that part again. That's for the seatbelt?
Yeah. So say that you're sitting in the seat.
Mm-hmm.
The buckle strap, say that you're sitting on the passenger side bench seat in the back, the buckle will be on your left hip.
Mm-hmm.
It extends it slips through the buckle itself and you shorten it and lengthen it, whatever. When you're not using it, instead of having the seat buckles flop around all over the back seat, sliding around or fall down between the seats, you extend it all the way out and it buckles to the front, all the way down towards the front. Yeah. I forget which side it is. I think the driver's side, there's 2 buckles. There's 2 receivers.
For the left side in the middle?
It's vice versa. It's 2 on one side and 1 on the other. And so that all 3 belts go forward and go all the way down to the floor, and they buckle to the front of the lower seat cushion. Yeah, and also, I'm sure you've seen this a couple of times on some interior shots, but up by the sun visor, at the sun visor base, there's another buckle receiver up there for your shoulder strap.
That one I would understand. I had no idea there was ever such a thing for the rear seat. Yet another nugget of information from Corndog about this. I mean, they certainly look like a seatbelt would be hooked to them, but I assumed that they were the actual, like in the GM car, that's all there is.
The chrome part of the buckle that had been painted.
Yeah.
They're just plastic, and they just mount to the front of the lower seat frame, and they would be painted or dyed the interior color. So it looks correct.
It was certainly sprayed with whatever it was. It was interesting. Yeah. Neat.
A lot of times they break off, but yeah, I mean, you're talking about a 10 to 15-year-old car at that point. So, many of them probably still had them at that point.
I don't have a lot else on this episode, unfortunately. It's very funny. It's very silly. But the thing is, there's a Genie. And I don't really know how to talk about that so much.
Well, skip the Genie. Talk about they had some really good camera angles with the General Lee sliding. And I'm not just talking like recycled footage, but some of the newer footage that they used. There was a lot of really good camera angles. Like I liked the, at the very beginning of the episode, Hughie is with binoculars. He's looking down onto the Duke farm. And so you get a really good kind of bird's eye view of the farm. And then also that would have been a Valencia that you were standing at the gate of. In that direction where he was looking, I need to go back and look, but you would have been able to see the interstate in the far background. So there's some episodes where they're driving around what looks like out in the middle of nowhere. And in the background, you see 18-wheelers and trucks and cars and all driving by. And that's, up towards the very front of Valencia, the ranch. And so, where he was propped up at, you would have been able to see a little bit. I don't know. You may not have, but that was in the direction of the...
Well, as I was watching that, I was trying to think of the overhead map that I took with me to Valencia, hoping that I would be able to recognize stuff, and I couldn't even recognize it. I totally agree. It was cool and good footage. There are good close-ups of the car. Do you have any information on the cars in this episode?
Not really.
At the end, when the van... Surprise, the Dukes figured out the jig is up, and they figure out that the Genie is fake, and they get Boss on the right side, and Hughie escapes, and he's in a van, and the van gets like hung up halfway off a cliff. And the B-roll that you're looking at, I assume, is of the Santa Clarita River. I have no idea what it is.
I was trying to look at that and see where it's at. That may have still been the same area where they normally make the cars go off the edge, but it may have been in a different location. Normally where they did that, you would have been looking down right at where, let me see if this makes sense. If you were standing on top of that mountain or hill or whatever you want to call it and looking down, normally where they did it, you would have been looking down at where the jump took place. You would have been on the landing side of that big, huge jump at the Styx River. Looking at it the way that they were showing it, it didn't really look like the launch area for where they did the Styx River jump. But it may have been, there again, the same river, but a little bit further, up the river.
Didn't we already do this part of the show?
No, because now we're talking about the van going over the edge.
Now it's historic. Now we have reference, Bernie. Just keep it quiet. There were several blades of grass wisping one direction.
This frog.
This frog looked out of place. There was some good footage. The whole chase sequence at the end, about half of it is B-roll. Old B-roll, like small push bar car B-roll. But the acting in it is funny. Sorrel Book and Jimmy Best, they just cracked me up. At one point, I think there's a little adult joke in here. Here's one clip for you.
Oh, well, that's against Rule 38, which prohibits all kinds of moonlighting. So you just better run along and have your lunch. We'll keep an eye on this here bug.
You say so, Mr. Hall.
He just said so, you chicken plucker.
Plucker.
Well, we call him a chicken plucker because he's covered in chicken feathers because he just ran through the barn.
It looked like he had been plucking chickens. The interaction of John and Tom in here is good. You know, these are two actors who've been doing this role with each other for a long time. I think all the little back and forth they do, it's got to be made up. Like at one point when they break out and Bo opens the door, Luke says, "How do you know which key it is all the time?" And he goes, "Oh, it's the big one with a little skull on it." Like,
well, also when they were fishing the keys off of the wall, you know, they had a fishing pole, and I don't think they were supposed to drop it just before he grabs it, and they just roll with it, you know, and they kneel down and pick it up and whatever, but they probably didn't intend on that. But did you also catch the part where Roscoe calls the lady, he calls her a little heifer?
Yes. Yes, I did. I like all the Roscoe scenes. He's the one that convinces Boss Hogg to rub a lamp because he's the one who thinks it could be a genie's lamp. Boss Hogg says, "Well, I can't because it says on the bottom here clearly, do not rub." And Roscoe says, "Cheat."
Just this once.
Cheat. Okay, well, just this once. This whole series started out with hookers in an RV being driven across county lines, and now it's a silly show with genies in it, but whatever. I thought it ended on a high note. Do you have anything about any cars in here at all in your book?
No, like we were talking about during this time, I think the author of this said book just kind of just like tossed the book off to the side or something, because there's a 2-month spell where nothing is being written in the book. Yeah, 2 months during the prime production time. And that would have been when this episode probably was produced, because it picks up a month before this episode airs. They would have been a little bit further ahead than that.
Bern, there's a clip I'm looking for right here. You can put it right over the top for me, the Office Space.
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
Who knows? You know, there's a lot of cars on the set. Perhaps he just tossed the book under the seat of a car. He'd come back and get it tomorrow, and that car got used, and he never saw it again.
Maybe,
possibly.
Maybe he was too busy looking for a new job.
No, that could play into it, yeah.
He knew they're doing aliens and going out west and genies, and he knew it was over.
I have to say, though, I enjoy this episode. When it was over, I was pleased. I like the acting. I like the back. I like some of the silly shows. They don't bother me. I like Hughie Hogg. I'm always happy to have a Hughie Hogg episode on.
See, I don't really care much for Hughie Hogg. I kind of just roll my eyes every time I see that he's going to be on the episode. I'm just kind of like, oh, he's too cartoonish for me. I mean, it's just, he kind of annoys me.
That's the beauty of being a little bit older than you. I saw these in the original run. Oh, that Hughie Hogg. I hated him at first. But now I look forward to him.
Like reminiscing.
He's like a welcome hangover. So nothing in the Banjic book at all?
Nothing at all during this time period. There's nothing that I see in the book that ties it to this episode. No. I was hoping to see like a panel van or something like that, you know. So no, there's nothing in here.
What's your corn dog rating of this episode? How many dogs of yourself do you give it?
I've actually seen this episode many times, and like you said, it's not a bad episode. It's just kind of, they work on the comedy more than anything, but I do like the camera angles and the really good close-ups of the General Lee, like when they're tying the rope to the push bar.
Yeah.
You can see like orange overspray all over the grill. And that was the 68 close-up car. So, you know, I like picking up on little details like that. So I do like that as far as the episode goes, but I'd give it anywhere from, I'd say 6.5.
Okay. I'd give it a 6. Is that 68 still alive?
I don't know. That's one of the mystery cars. That was a really nice car, you know, at the end of the series. I don't know if it maybe found its way to another production, or it may even possibly be one of the 17 today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and of course, you know, by the time it sat out and then, you know, got weathered and all that, then it looks kind of beat up and stuff. It's really tough to say for sure.
In next month's episode, in the first episode of August, we'll go through and detail the list, the active tracking list we have, because the alien episode's the next episode we have to review, and we got to do something. There's lots of good camera angles, right? Look at that seatbelt with half overspray on it.
Yeah, man.
Zing zang.
That armrest is hanging by one bolt instead of two.
We're not going to find the forever young car if we just don't try. We've got to try. Bernie, what's your review of our review?
No, I didn't see the show, unfortunately, but I did see the program about how Daisy, remember this? Daisy went to prison, mainly for overacting. But while there, she started the first Daisy Duke look-alike club of daisies dressed up in handcuffs. The name of the club, of course, was the Daisy Chainers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, I missed that one. I didn't see that. Have you got it on beta or VHS?
It's on beta, yeah.
Okay, good. Loan it to me.
My review of your review is 5 corn dogs. I didn't feel the love.
Well,
there you have it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This text chain is getting weird. What the hell are you guys talking about?
I don't know. I'm just rolling with it.
What?
Oh, Lord.
What is Go Huang Kick with real Go Huang and sea salt?
Mm-hmm.
What happened? We used to talk.
I'm out of the loop.
Don't try to catch up. I tried today. I paid the price. Actually, today was a pretty good day. It was mostly normal.
A lot of business today. That's a sad day.
Yeah, that's definitely a sad day. Well, just like that, you have reached the end of this episode. Next week is Patreon. Please join us there. Patreon.com/KF show. We'd love to have you. All money that comes in goes to the best cause there can possibly be. If you get this show on Apple Podcasts, leave a rating. It has been a while, but remind me, fellas, in the next episode, we'll go through some new ratings. There's some good ones out there that are fun. You can join us in many other ways. You can get this on the website. You can get it in Google Play and Stitcher and blah, blah, blah. Fellas, anything else before we bail out?
I did want to remind you about something we went over last week. I wanted to close the circle on something. Remember during the news we talked, well, you brought this up because we were talking about the news from last week.
Mm-hmm.
When we talked about the monkeys and the tour group that supported that. Remember that?
Yeah.
You'll love this. I bet you didn't know this, Kibbe, because you'd be the ultimate fan who should know this. Did you know there was a concert stage group, not only for the monkeys, but there was another one for the greatest Christmas action movie ever with Bruce Willis and the OG Die Hard? Did you know that?
I know the OG movie Die Hard. Did I know there was another group?
Like the monkeys, there was a touring group that went around in those days, back in the 80s. They had that. That was a thing. So it was Bruce and the main guy, bad guy who played Hans. His name was Alan Rickman. He was in that with Bruce Willis. They had that promotional band that went around during the Christmas season. They traveled around and promoted the movie. In fact, Christmas in Hollis is one of the original songs that came out of that band. I bet you didn't know that.
That doesn't
And
sound
of course,
right.
Look it up. I'll give you the source. I'll give you the link when I'm done. Of course, since these guys were actors mainly, it was mostly karaoke music, much like the monkeys, but a few of them did play instruments, including Rickman. He played electric guitar. Pretty good, too.
Mm-hmm.
One night after a show in L.A., the drum solo had just wrapped up and the crowd was going crazy and nuts. And Willis, who had probably had a couple, grabbed the mic and said, "Hey, you think that was good? Just wait for Han's solo."
A for effort, but don't you mess with Christmas in Hollis, because that's,
I'm telling you,
that's gospel music.
I'm telling you.
That's Run DMC, brother. That is a Christmas song. Everyone. Did you happen to see, this is real, I know that Bruce Willis, he has an ailment now, and he's not acting anymore, but there is a fairly recent photo of him on the top of the Nakatomi Plaza. He goes up there, and it's just a picture of him on top of the Nakatomi Plaza, which was whatever film company put on Die Hard, that was their production video. They're like their office building. Anyway, super cool. Patreon.com/KF show, Apple Podcasts, Google Play. Go to the musclecarplace.com and subscribe.
MoParty.
And don't forget to go to MoParty and buy. Ooh, that was bad. Buy something at Holley. Tell them we sent you. We'll catch you later. Bye-bye.
Later.
The Kibbe and Friends Show. Brought to you by our good friends at Holley Performance. Click the link on our show page and visit Holley.com for everything air, fuel, and performance related for your ride. Connect with us on the socials and at patreon.com/KAFS. See you next week. Later on.
Y'all remember Hughie Hogg, don't you? Every time he comes to Hazzard, he's been a disaster. A personal pestilence, you might say. I mean, don't nothing ever go right for the Dukes, or Boss, or Daisy, or Cooter, or Enos, or anybody, including Hughie. Meanwhile, back in Hazzard County, birds were singing, fish were jumping out at the Hazzard Pond, and a soul would be hard put to believe that trouble was lurking in the hills. He's back. And being back, he's got nothing but bad in mind for the Dukes.
You want to drive? I guess so.
Haven't got what they came for, and I ain't sure yet what that was. Them dudes was heading for Hazzard, with Bo and Luke laying down Z's in the back seat. Meanwhile, Daisy was heading for Hazzard Pond, looking to meet up with them and join them for a little bit of fishing fun, having no idea that they was out colder than dead mackerels in the back seat of the car that she was just about to pass.
Oh, well, that's against Rule 38, which prohibits all kinds of moonlighting. So you just better run along and have your lunch. We'll keep an eye on this here bug.
You say so, Mr. Hall.
He just said so, you chicken plucker. Now, why was my nephew so concerned about a piece of junk like this?
Boss, it may not be junk. Oh. It might even be
the real thing. What? The real thing?
The real thing.
What's that?
When you were a little fat kid, didn't you read about Aladdin and his lamp?
Listen, I was too busy running a floating crap game in school to do much reading.
Well, listen, let me tell you the story. See, if you rub this lamp, if it's Aladdin's lamp, then the smoke comes out and hits the fan, and then the genie pops out and gives you all sorts of wishes.
Oh, that lamp, the one with the genie. Right. Oh, I know all about that anyhow. Yeah, but you gotta be touched in the head to believe a fairy tale like that.
I believe it. Mm-hmm. Listen, why don't we just give it a little rub, and we haven't got anything to lose.
Yeah, well, you see what it says on the bottom?
What?
Do not rub.
Cheat.
What?
Cheat.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Cheat?
Mm-hmm.
But just this once.
No.
To prove to you there ain't no magic genies inside this thing.
Oh,
Now, would you please? I'm rubbing.
Oh, which is it?
What is your wish, Master?
But look here, I'll prove to you. What'll I be? It's a joke.
Yeah. Now maybe you'll believe in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and the rabbit with the long ears.
Well. Oh, Duke! Luke, Duke!
Yeah, boss. What are we doing in jail?
Well, you mean you don't know?
Of course not. No, we was going fishing, weren't we? Yeah, we was going fishing. Next thing we know, we find ourselves in here.
Will you go ahead and make a wish?
Oh, I'm not ready.
Well,
I'm still thinking.
Well, listen, if it's going to take us, let me wish.
Wait a minute. That's my nephew's lamp. Well, I'll do all the wishing around here. I'm his uncle.
Well, get on with it. There must be 1,000 things to wish for.
I know there are. But no matter how hard I try to think about it, I can only come up with one thing.
What?
Money. Money.
Did I call it or did I call it?
All right, Trixie. Get ready now.
Money's here.
My money's here. A whole truck full of money.
Better come back to these, huh? Yep. Nice work. Thank you. I don't know which key it is every time. It's a big one with a little skull on it.
Well, you just gonna sit here?
Where am I going? They've gone. We've blown it.
You know, Hughie says those boys never get too far away from their car. I bet they're headed back to where we left it. Let's go see.
I hope you're right.
Now, Hughie, now that you're real comfortable, will you please tell me what exactly you'll take for this here lamp?
Forget it, Uncle Boss. It would take everything you own.
Everything?
Oh. I said it once. I will not say it again.
All right.
What?
I said it once. I can't say it again.
Boss, listen, you can't give everything away. You can't mean it.
Oh, no?
No.
Well, of course I mean it.
You do?
Trouble with you, Roscoe, is you ain't got no imagination.
I don't?
Don't you get it?
No.
Once I get my hands on that lamp, I'll just wish back everything I give away.
Oh, that's clever.
And then, then I'll just wish for all of Hazzard County.
Hazzard County?
Yeah, and then I'll wish for all of the state.
All of the state?
And then the whole country.
The country?
Maybe the world.
Now, where would he put it?
There. All right. Oh, where the heck is Hughie?
Your two pals told us everything, so let's not waste any time. Where's he at?
He's in his uncle's office.
Come on, you got one more appearance to make.
Rub it and get it. Wait a minute. How did you dukes get out of jail?
Oh, forget about them. Look, they got my Genie, and they took off her clues.
Boss, your Genie's a fake. She's just as phony as Hughie is.
Along with that magic lamp he hoodwinked you with, boss.
I hope you had sense enough not to sign anything, JD.
Oh, no!
Come on. We got business to finish with.
Well, all's well that ends well. The Duke's got Hughie and that letter Boss had signed back to Hazzard.
Hughie Hogg, even though you just see me thank the Dukes for saving your life, that don't mean I ever want to see your scheming, smirking face in Hazzard ever again. Now, Enos here is going to escort you and that gang of yours to the county line. Go on, do it.
Yes.
And when you get there, I want you to take off. I don't want you to set foot in Hazzard County ever again, and this time I mean it.
Oh, I just feel lucky, Uncle Boss, you didn't throw me in jail. I just feel so grateful.
Grateful. Don't be grateful. Just be gone.
Hughie was sent packing without charges being pressed. Boss being ashamed to let anybody know what a dang fool he had been, believing in genies and Aladdin's lamp.
Well, Jesse, I'm sorry all this happened. It was all my nephew's fault, don't you know?
There's just one other little item, Gage.
Of course, the Dukes knew, and they insisted that to keep their lips sealed, Boss would have to make a sizable donation to the Hazzard Orphanage.
My idea in the first place, anyhow. What you doing?
Give that little rub.
Oh, this thing don't mean nothing now, you know that.
Well, I need it.
Wait a minute. Oh, no.
Well, in Hazzard County, you never know.